All right, folks, welcome to another edition here of Radio's Yard. We're here at the Live at a Dollar Podcast Network. I have a really cool guest coming up next year. If you've ever ripped a card, gotten a card, and then immediately want to figure out how to sell it, how to get rid of it, what to do with it, I've got the guy right here, one of the owners of Quick Consign here, Chris Heck, going to join us here for a couple of minutes here at Radio's Yard. Chris, glad to have you here. Good to meet you, and I can't wait to meet you when I can see you face-to-face at the National.
I know. It'll be awesome at the National to meet face-to-face. Thanks for having me. It's nice to be here. Explain a little bit about what we do and all that.
That's what I want to hear. I want to hear all about what's going on with you because, listen, I like to do, obviously, before we do any of these things, a little bit of research on who I'm going to be talking to and this and that, history on someone. And I thought it was really cool because, like I told you before we started, I got into the hobby when I was 10, 11, 12 years old. I was on the same hunt that everyone was on at that time. I'm 46 right now. I was looking in 89 for Griffey. I was looking in 90 for Frank Thomas. Right. Yeah. Like, these were my chases, so it's good to hear someone with the same chases, ripping packs of Upper Deck, trying to find the Griffey. Deck. Right.
Yeah.
Same boat. We were the same boat.
The shows were wild with my dad. Yeah.
Right. And that's funny too, because when I read a lot about that, my dad too would take me, down here in South Florida. It would be at the malls in Coral Springs, or it would be at the Dadeland Mall, be at all these malls, the card shows. My dad would take me. We'd buy packs. He'd buy me boxes. We'd rip them there. And it was obviously right before like the crazy junk wax era when like I have 95 Shaq rookies that I thought were worth $1 million each. And of course, everyone's got 95 Shaq rookies from that year as well. Yeah, exactly. But the biggest thing to me also is finding out that you've been doing this specifically for a couple decades, 2 decades, like 21 years, whatever the case was. I think that is a really cool thing. How did this all start for you to get into this kind of the part of the hobby? Because for a lot of people, it's jumping in, it's trying to chase cards and then selling them afterwards. You've got a really unique kind of place in this hobby, and it's been for so long. Chris, how did this all start for you?
Yeah, it started like you were saying, kind of like collecting with my dad. It was a hobby. It was always a hobby, on and off throughout the years until probably around 2017, 16, 17, I got really serious about it. I just saw that there was a market. I saw that people like to collect. And then, where it was going with kind of the breaking, where people would kind of do like a turn and burn. And like, I was just looking for a service that we could provide where people could get their money back, on a very quick, with a very quick process and have a quick turnaround with their money, and they would continue to rip. And then it kind of started with just me doing the listing and doing the shipping and everything, and then the books, all of it. And then we kind of grew little by little. Now we're 40 something employees we have now, so and our volume is a lot bigger. We're like 25 to 30,000 auctions a week we're currently doing right now. Wow. So yeah, it was just a hobby. It's like, it never really feels like work for me, honestly. Like even now, like even if, we'll go to the National and it's like, we're on our feet for 12 hours a day, and it's just like, you're grinding, and it's still enjoyable, just because I'm just like passionate about sports in general. I always have been. You have to be, right. And in our business to a point. Yeah. And I say our business now because now I went, like I told you, from sports radio into breaking and podcasting here at the backyard. And if you're not like a sort of diehard sports fan, this would feel like work. But for a lot of the guys in the building, like for you, for me, it's not. We're lucky. We're kind of blessed to be in this kind of a business, and we're not outside trying to sell something that we don't know much about. This is our thing. This is what we grew up with. This is why it's great. I know. It's nice. Yeah. No, it's cool. It's definitely, like I said, never really feels like work.
Right.
And then we're just continuing to try to grow it. Like I've kind of built the business with like the mindset of like, if you don't take care of the customer, somebody else will. Like, people have other options, and we just want to be mindful of that, and like just be honest and good to our customers, both on the customers that buy from us on eBay and the customers that send us cards to consign. We've been able to stay pretty competitive with our rates, where we're some of the best rates online and some of the quickest turnaround times. And we're continuing to grow. So yeah, it's a good feeling.
Yeah,
like where
cool.
the kind of where the industry's headed into a good place, I think.
That's a perfect follow-up, because one of my follow-up questions was, how big, if right now we're kind of middle ground of where the hobby is. I'm not going to say the floor, I'm not going to say the ceiling, but if we're kind of middle ground, where can this hobby take off to? You've seen it from like the days that we just talked about,
Yeah.
the 89 Griffeys, the 90 Frank Thomases, the Shaqs in early 90s, 92, 93. Like, where can this hobby take off to at this point? Because I feel like every day, somehow, some way, gets a little bit bigger, whether it's the Gary V's of the world having their own stuff or Caitlin Clark now at the WNBA. Like, there's so many different angles. It's not just NFL and, you know, NBA and Major League Baseball. It's so much more now. But where do you see this 5 years from now, 10 years from now, this hobby?
I see it definitely expanding. I mean, you saw where it was in 2020, and it's like
Right.
come back down a little bit, but it's definitely headed back up in that direction. The breaking, I think it will just kind of keep it alive because
Right.
you have like a kind of a gambling aspect of that, and like people like to gamble,
Right.
you know. So I think that kind of keeps it alive and only elevates it. And then with like the celebrity status, with like what Fanatics is kind of doing, you know, that's like entices people, new people to join. So as long as you can keep people enticed, you know, and keep people, you know, still in the hobby, and like new people coming in, I think, you know, we continue to see growth. You know,
Right.
it's a major industry at this point.
How much has it changed? And you brought up 2017, like even through the pandemic, how much has it changed even since then, in general, but for you as well? Because I can imagine if everything was going great for you at 2017, it had to just take another step above during the pandemic with everyone just kind of in their houses doing their own thing. But the card and the hobby business were still pretty big at the time. How much change has it been just even since then for you and the company
Well,
and the hobby?
it's crazy because
Right.
it's like every other industry was hurting, you
Right.
know, and you know, I kind of saw like the trend where it was like this wasn't, people were sitting at home and they wanted to break and they wanted to go through cards. And we have a brick and mortar here in Vermont too, and that, you know, I saw with that, you know, the amount of people that wanted to rip waxed increased almost immediately. Yeah, it was like it was kind of mind-boggling, actually, to see it all unfold. And then it just kept, you know, you'd literally buy a card on eBay, and by the time it get to you, it would have increased 30% in
Right.
value. You
Right.
know, it was kind of crazy.
Yeah,
So
it's amazing what's happened, you know, because like you said, so many businesses couldn't make it. Pandemic killed so many, and other businesses grew exponentially like crazy during that time as well. The hobby is one of those things that obviously did grow at the time or got bigger at the time. Quick Consign, just in general. Did I read also that you guys are like above 1 million sales at this point? Like, I don't even know what the actual numbers, maybe you know off the top of your head, but is that how big you guys have gotten? Because that's an incredible
yeah,
number.
it's like what 1.5 million in sales. Yeah,
Woo! Chris, woo!
1.5 million like items sold. Yeah,
That
yeah,
a lot of people trust your company,
yeah.
obviously, at this point. Like that's got to be good for you also to feel that you're getting this many calls, you're getting trusted with this much. Because a lot of the times also, maybe somebody doesn't trust the company or wants to do it by themselves. But when you have such a reputation like you guys have, this has got to be a
That's
cool
it. It's
feeling for you
just do
guys.
right by people. Like,
Right.
be honest, do right by people, and just like be genuine and real. And that's like, you know, how I feel like we've always built the company up, is just like, if there's an issue, we'll fix it. You know, like, we're human. Like, have a
Right.
conversation with us. Like, you know, my cell phone number's out there. People reach out to me all the time. We get stuff handled. Like, that's what separates us, I think, from other people, is that, like, you know, we go above and beyond to make sure that our customers are happy on all fronts.
Right.
And that's why we have, you know, the following that we have on, you know, and on eBay too. I think we're 20 or 25,000 followers on eBay as well.
Wow.
So yeah, so I think that's just kind of what separates us. Just do right
Yeah.
by people at the end of the
Right.
day, you
That's a
know.
great motto for your
Yeah,
business. Are you kidding me?
yeah,
That's a perfect motto just for your business. You should have that on the wall
yeah, for
in your
real.
place. Seriously, like that. Because in the industry, in any industry, if you can't be trusted, then you're done. You're
Right.
toast at that point. You're cooked. But with you guys, 1 million plus sales, 1.5. I mean, give me a break.
Yeah,
You basically just answered that question there. Couple more, and I'll let you run.
yeah.
How much has Fanatics Fest, the national, huge card shows all over the country? The Dallas one I know is coming up, and all these big ones. How much has that broaden the hobby in general and made it so much bigger for not just the 10, 11, 12, 13-year-olds, but for the guys my age and older, 46 and older, guys in their 60s. This is still a big business for a lot of people, but I think this has kind of expanded to the point where you have to be at these events. Like, I'm excited for my first time coming up at the National. I know you guys have a huge promotion. I want to get to that in a minute also, but
Yeah.
how much have those things in general helped the hobby over the last 5-10 years?
Well, I think that you like, you have an aspect of like investing in it as well, and like when you have like that kind of money being thrown around, and like, you talked about the shows. It's like we went to Dallas for 2 years during the, during the pandemic, and for 2 years to promote the business.
Right.
And that helped us out because they were just like, there were so many people there and we developed so many relationships. But yeah, those things, the fact that they keep putting on these big events, and like the overwhelming amount of people that like fly into like New York City for something like Fanatics Fest,
Right.
and the fact that it's like, Tom Brady's there, and Travis Scott and Logan Paul's there. It's just, when you have stuff like that going on, like that's just draws in so many people, So
Right.
I think we just keep going up from here.
Yeah,
Honestly.
keeping it mainstream, right? Keeping it mainstream and getting the guy that might not be totally into the hobby into it at that point as well as the guy that's just totally dove into the hobby there as well. What am I as a new person going to the National this year for my first time? What should I be expecting to see there? How big is this? Like, I need to ask questions at this point. I'm asking all the guys in the building too. What am I walking into in Chicago in a couple of weeks?
Yeah, it's overwhelming. Your first one is like, it'll be like, a little bit of like culture shock, like, like just shocks you a little bit
Right.
with like the amount of people. They're just like swarming by you. The goal would be to like figure out what you want to do there, and then just kind of focus on that, because it's kind of easy to get caught up like not doing something that you went there to do, and then like a day's passed and you're like, oh my God, I still have to run and do all this stuff,
Right.
That's what I've always kind of focused on. Like, this is, even made a list a lot of times of like, this is the stuff that I have to do on each day, and the stuff that I want to do, and it just kind of stuck to the list. So
right. Yeah, overwhelmed is the number one answer, by the way, on the board. If we were doing,
overwhelmed, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Family Feud, number one answer on the board so far from anyone I've asked. You're going to be overwhelmed, and this is from a person like me who has covered Super Bowls and World Series and NBA Finals and Final Fours and huge golf tour. I've been to all of them. You name it, I've been there. Big boxing matches and MMA in Vegas. I've been to it all. Yet this, I'm really looking forward to, because it's my first time.
You didn't do Fanatics? You didn't go to Fanatics Fest?
No, I didn't go to Fanatics
Fest. Oh, man, you would have loved it.
I know. You know what? I'm going to have to get to the next one. I don't know if there's a second one each year or not, but I will get to the next one in New York next year. I promise I will be there one way or another, whether I got to walk up to New York or not. But at the National, Consign is doing a major promotion, a big promotion. Tell me about it. I need to know also what's going on.
Yeah, we're giving away, I was just looking to see, we're giving away a Jordan 6 rookie, it looks like.
What?
Yeah, Jordan 5 rookie. And so basically all you have to do is just, bring something by the booth, drop it off, and you can be entered in the giveaway, and we'll give it away at the end of the National. So it's, Jordan Fleer, nice PSA centered 5 rookies. So
right.
We'll have a booth set up there. We'll be giving stuff away all week. Little like flash giveaways. You can get bags from us there, shirts, waters, hand sanitizer, just stuff that you would need. That's another thing. Like, you can never have like, too many bags to like put stuff in as you're walking around and buying stuff from every table. So yeah, we'll be giving that away there, and a lot of other stuff during the course of the week.
Chris, I'm an old radio guy. My motto is, if it's free, I'll take 3. So believe me when I tell you, I'm very happy with hearing that. Right. I'm very happy with hearing that. Yeah. Well, I'm excited. Thank you first and foremost for coming on as we do these hobby interviews. I want to learn more about the hobby, the people in the hobby. I was very excited when we set this thing up, because I want to learn more about every aspect of the hobby. I don't want to just be a guy that's breaking cards and doesn't know anything else. I want to hear about it. So this was good for me, educational for me as well, and informative. So that's good as well. And honestly, I'm excited to meet all the guys I interview face to face, and I'll see you at the National. I'll be very excited to come up and introduce myself once again to you there too. So that's going to be a lot of fun, and my first time there. So maybe I'll be overwhelmed by your booth for a little bit as well when I come by. So thank you very much for your time today, Chris. I really do appreciate it.
Hey, thank you so much for having me on, and don't forget www.quickconsigncards.com.
There it is. Quick Consign. There it is. Website out there. We're good to go. Chris Hecht, owner of quickconsign.com, joining us here for a couple of minutes. Again, thanks, Chris, for coming on with us. This has been another edition of The Hobby in Radio's Yard on the Live at a Dollar Podcast Network.